Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Inside Artesian Basketball here on WREP 15 Sports and the MHS Rewind YouTube channel. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined as always by boys basketball head coach Kip Staggs. A lot to talk about here on Inside Artesian Basketball with the coach, so we'll get right into it, talking about the ball club. Since we last talked prior to Christmas break, a lot's happened, a lot's unfolded for your young ball club, but one thing that we can say is this is a team that is starting to get a little bit more used to each other, a little bit better chemistry, and starting to play much better as the season progresses.
Well, I think you've seen a lot of improvement out of our team in the last month, to say the least. You know, I think the first thing this team had to learn how to do is how hard you have to play. And everybody that's any good plays hard. And so this team had to learn that element, and we're starting to get that. Then the second thing they had to learn how to do is how to compete. And the compete portion is more mental than it is the physical. You know, understanding the scouting report, knowing what to do next, understanding what the next play is going to be or where you go on the next pass. And then the third thing we're in the process of as well is learning how to win, how to handle situations. You know, and we finally put ourselves in those positions. You know, if you look back prior to Christmas, we were just not in those positions to be successful. But now we've been in a situation situations where we've had an opportunity. You know, Decatur Central, we're down 6 to a very good ball club with 4.5 minutes to go. You know, we're ahead of Columbus East in the second half. I think back to you know, even back to Eastern Green right there to Christmas time. You know, we were in the game, but you know, we weren't doing some things necessary at that point mentally maybe. So, you know, even from Christmas on, we've done some things much better. So a lot of growth in this team. They're a great group of kids, work really hard, they pay attention, and they're just really a lot of fun to be around, honestly.
When you look at your schedule as well, it's always a pretty tough schedule, and we all know it varies year to year for the simple fact is who does this team have and who does that team have and those kind of things. But you guys have kind of faced a meat grinder of a schedule here in the early going against some really, really solid veteran-laden ball clubs that are long, athletic, put some pressure on you, things that young teams with not much varsity experience struggle with early on, and you only get that experience unfortunately, by getting it in a game.
Well, you know, you look at Seymour, and that's probably one of their better Seymour teams that they've had in a while. They've had 3 overtime losses, so their record's probably not indicative of the type of team that they've had in the past several years. Decatur Central, they've got 3 or 4 seniors that are outstanding. The Tracy kid is a junior all-star from last summer, and he's an outstanding player. And then, you know, going ahead, looking at Bloomington North, you know, they've got a lot of guys that have got some varsity experience. So, you know, the one thing I think back to our Indian Creek game is, you know, we played real well on the road at Indian Creek with a team at that time was 10th in 3A basketball, and they'd only had 1 loss at the time. And, you know, all 49 points are coming back. That's kind of the way I've looked at it after the game, is that, you know, we're getting better, and yes, all this comes back to us a year from now. So, you know, from that standpoint, you're right, we're gaining a lot of experience. You're only going to get it on Fridays and Saturdays. Really hard to duplicate during the week.
You mentioned the Indian Creek game, you mentioned the Decatur game, and one thing that you've always done extremely well all the way back to when you were the assistant coach a long time ago is get your kids ready to play and put them in a great position to win. And reading the paper afterwards where Indian Creek's coach was talking about, hey, they were ready to play. They knew what we were going to do. Same thing you could see with Decatur. It looked like you made some tweaks. They were expecting one thing. You were doing a few different things to them early on as well. So the kids are going to always be in position in those contests to be able to be prepared and ready to go, and that's something now that they just have to trust in it, learn how to implement those things you're telling them and all those kind of things.
Well, I appreciate that. We work really hard at the Scout, and Tim Dearlove does a great job. He and I go back and forth on a different games and what we need to do. And, you know, one thing we've had to do with this group is with your older groups, you can kind of tell them things on a Wednesday or Thursday leading into Friday's game. With this group, we trickle it in on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we got to give it to them earlier in the process while they're also trying to learn and understand and perform better on our offensive side. So, you know, we're just giving them that information sooner. They're starting to understand it a little bit better, apply it a little bit better, and, you know, it's going to be a game-by-game basis. You know, it's the mental piece for for young guys is difficult because they just play. They just go out and run around and play. And there's so much thought that goes in the game. And I tell them all the time, you got to play with thought. And you've got to concentrate. And we're making strides in that area. So I'm very pleased. We're very pleased with the improvement. And, obviously we've put ourselves in a position since Christmas to be successful. We just haven't got over the hump then.
Let's talk a little bit about the Decatur Central game. We'll have Zane roll some highlights while we talk. Unfortunately, we've had some technical issues. We won't be able to watch them, but you'll be able to see here early on. This is a game you guys jumped out, really played very well in this contest, especially early on against Decatur Central.
Well, no question. It's 14-14 at the end of the first quarter, and we feel pretty good about it. Our guys are playing so hard. It was just so proud of their effort from that standpoint. Probably the best effort we've had all year against, like you said, a very athletic team. And so, and then we got in that second quarter and, it kind of got away from us. Get it in the third quarter, we kept it in striking distance. Get in the fourth quarter, we made a shot, got it to 6. They go down, don't score. We've got an opportunity to cut it below 6, miss a 3. They go down and miss. We come back, miss again. And next thing you know, it turns into be 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then they spread the floor the last 2.5 minutes, and we had to play catch-up. So very pleased. I tell you one thing that hurt us was the offensive rebound. Was a big Achilles sore spot, if you will. It's really hurt us during that stretch. We gave up too many second chance points, and we looked at the second chance points and points off of turnovers plus free throws, and I think it was 46 out of their 59. So when they played against our set defense, we did a really good job. What hurt us was the second chance points where they get it and put it back, or something off of one of our turnovers where they converted. So, if we eliminate some of those things, we're really in good shape. But very, very pleased. I thought the kids played extremely hard, and definitely something you can build on.
Decatur's athleticism obviously leading to some of those second chance opportunities. And when you come down to it, if a team shoots 1 of 5 on a possession, as long as they got the 5 shots and come away with the 2 points, it doesn't matter that took them 20% to do it. And sometimes those field goal percentages can be a little bit misleading, especially when teams are going and getting some of those second chance opportunities, which Decatur was able to do, use their athleticism, and a team that's confident, it's played together for a while, and not afraid. I don't know if that's the right word, but I think you get where we're going out here. It's a team that's a veteran ball club that knows what they want to do and knows if a shot doesn't go in, hey, we got to go get it, and those kind of things. And you can kind of see that work to their advantage, especially late in the game.
Well, they were 3 for 20 from three-point range, but they had extra shots.
Yep.
And so, the points in the paint, plus a few free throws, just really came back to hurt us. And so, that's something we've emphasized this week and try to get better at. The week before, we go to Indian Creek and we just had too many turnovers. We're in the hunt. We just had too many turnovers. So we eliminated that, made that better for us. But then we had another issue. I explained something the other day to a guy, and I said, when we got in the boat to start the season, we had a lot of leaks. We had this hole to plug and this hole to plug and this hole to plug, and we just kind of steadily, put plugs in there, and so in the last few weeks, there's still water in the boat, but now all of a sudden we get a gusher. That was the turnovers from Indian Creek, and we kind of plugged that away. And then this Friday the past Friday we had Decatur Central, and that's offensive rebound. So, well, that was a big plug. And so, we've solved a lot of things so far. We just got to continue to limit some of those errors and some of those offensive rebounds.
And continue to plug away as well as you try to come away with some wins here as we head towards tournament
No
time.
doubt. And I told our guys on Wednesday, I said, the stone cutter on his first cut, when he chopped at the stone, he didn't split the stone. He didn't even crack it. And, then he hit it again, and then, nothing happened. And he hit it again, and maybe nothing happened. And that's kind of where we're at. We got to keep hitting away at that stone and make progress. And I think we've cracked the stone. I think we've made some improvement. We see a little bit of progress, but we still haven't busted the stone open yet. But we've made a little progress, and we just got to keep hitting away at that stone.
So you had Decatur Central on Friday night, and then you have a second half that's another thing that a young team's got to learn how to do. How do you play those back-to-backs? And it's different playing a back-to-back on the road and then coming back. The preparation is different. You have them back in the morning. You have walkthroughs. Probably not as big of a scout as or at least of an installation of the game plan as you did the week before. All those kind of things are things that those kids have to kind of adapt to and learn how to do, get better at. Probably got better than what they did the prior weekend against Indian Creek and then come out with Seymour in a position to win it against Columbus East. Olympians, though, just able to come away with a victory.
Yeah, so we're up 9 in the third quarter, 27-18, playing pretty well. They make a little run at the end of the third quarter. We just got into a drought in the third quarter. We just couldn't put the ball in the basket. They came out in a 1-3-1, and to credit our guys, we quickly moved the ball and hit a couple shots, gave us a little bit of spurt, and felt pretty good about it. They called timeout, and then they chipped away at that lead and made it 27-all going into the fourth quarter. And we come out, start the fourth. We hit a three. And they come down after an offensive rebound. They hit a three. We come down and hit a two. They come down after that, offensive rebound, put it in, make it a two. So now it's 32-all. And then it was just a tight ball game from that point forward. And that's one thing. And I told the guys on Monday when I showed them the film, I said, these two films are going to make you upset if you're a real competitor, because you can see some things we could have done a little bit better. Even in all of our effort and all the things we did, we still made ourselves available or in a position to win in both games. And those are two games where we shoot less than 40%, and but our turnovers are down, but we guarded fairly well. And so the point to all of it is, we got in there late in the fourth quarter against Columbus East and had a couple shots that just didn't go in. So very pleased with our effort. We're getting there. Like I said, I like our group. And, I said this to somebody the other day. I don't have to worry about anybody being in a training room because they all come to practice. When they come to practice, they come to work. Additionally, when they're in practice, they have an intent to pay attention and listen. And that's been a pretty good, steady stream of activity for a while. And so, it's really easy. It's really easy if you're in our position for kids to get down on themselves, for coaches to get down, but we've got a very good atmosphere right now. Our culture's pretty good. Our JV team has a winning record. Our freshman team has a winning record. So our culture's pretty good. But I've got to credit our kids with hanging in there, continuing to work, having a good attitude about it, continuing to have good effort, and getting themselves ready for the next game.
The next game coming up will be a tough one. You are going to face a very good ball club coming into town on Friday night in the Bloomington North Cougars. Let's talk a little bit about Coach Spears' ball club and what we're going to see out of them on Friday when they hit the John R. Wooden Gymnasium floor.
Well, hopefully they don't shoot 44 free throws like they did last year when we were down at the Cougar Den. And
did you hire those same guys?
We didn't. We didn't. I'd just prefer not to. But anyway, they've got an outstanding ball club. It's a 3-point game against number 2 ranked Bloomington South last Friday, and with just seconds to go, and they got beat at that point. But they're awfully talented. They've got the Kleiber kid who's a sophomore, 6'1", that really handles the ball well. It's got good athleticism, jumps well. The Vincel kid is really improved. He can shoot it and score. Their guard play is really good. Brewster's a nice player out on the perimeter. So they've got some really good perimeter guys. And whenever you have good perimeter guys overall, you're going to give yourself a chance to win, at least at high school. And then they sprinkle in a couple. They've got a 6'5" freshman that they put in there, but his role is limited. But overall, just a very nice team. It's the best team they've had in several years.
What are we going to see out of Coach Spears? What does he like to do? We know they like to get up and down the floor. Vincel and Kleiber, the two guards, play on the Indiana Elite teams, their top teams. Those are guys that are used to pushing it. That's what they want to do. I'm guessing that's what they're going to try to do on Friday night.
So, yeah, they're going to want to play up-tempo, and they're going to want to have as many possessions as that they can have. They're going to drive a lot to the rim. They're going to try to get inside the paint, try to get the foul line. They're also going to try to 1-2-2 press a little bit, three-quarter court, and then they settle into man-to-man. They're traditionally a man-to-man team overall. So those are 2 or 3 things you're going to see. So they're going to play up-tempo. They're going to try to force you into some turnovers with their three-quarter court press. and then be somewhat aggressive in the half court.
For you guys, not giving too much away, what's going to be some of the important things that you guys have talked about this week that you're going to have to do well to be successful?
Well, I mean, it goes back to the last 2 weekends. You know, we've got to limit our turnovers. You know, we've done a better job with that, but that's just an area we've just got to continue to grow in, and then obviously keep people off the offensive glass. And we put, you know, sometimes when you're in a zone, it makes it a little more difficult to box out. So we've put a little bit more emphasis on making sure you know who you have, and we talk about hit and go get, and you know, it's just they had some long rebounds, and like I tell our guys, you're only as good as your fifth guy, you know, and if your fifth guy doesn't box out and your fifth guy doesn't set the screen, your fifth guy doesn't do this, so you know, it just hurts your team overall. So you know, guys have responded, they've paid attention to that. I think we're in a spot where we're starting to understand a little bit more. You know, we're starting to see, okay, that's my screen. That's where I got to go on the offensive end. We're starting to do some things better in terms of understanding pressure and how to alleviate pressure. So, you know, just little steps along the way. But going back to what you said, you know, Bloomington North's an awfully good ball club. It's going to take a great effort. But, you know, I think we've played a lot of teams like this already on our schedule. It's not like this is the team that, you know, we haven't competed against or has just been as talented. You know, you think about Columbus North, think about Plainfield, you think about Greenwood, think about Center Grove, you think about Decatur Central. You know, even Indian Creek. I mean, we've had some really, really good games.
Athletic long teams.
Yeah, really good teams on our schedule, and you know, we've adjusted and we've gotten a little better along the way. And so, but I don't see this team being any different from some of the other teams. You know, they're very comparable. What's better than who's better than I don't know, but
absolutely.
They're very comparable in the sense that they understand how to play, and they're competitive, and they play hard and all those things. So, you know, we're going to have to continue the effort piece. You know, we're going to have to continue that. We're going to have to get off to a great start. You know, we've got to put ourselves in a position early. It gives us a little bit of confidence, and then ultimately, you know, as we said earlier, eliminate some of those areas that have been somewhat of an Achilles heel for us.
All right, Coach, we appreciate you joining us. Good luck on Friday.
Appreciate you having me.
We'll see you again next week.
Well, we look forward to a great crowd on Friday, and going up to Guerin Catholic on Saturday.
Right.
Guerin Catholic game starts at 4 JV, and the varsity's at 5:30. So Guerin had asked for that change of time, so it's a little bit different from what's on your schedule. But look forward to everybody coming out. Monday night, we're going to have the little Arties in their clinic on Monday night, Martin Luther King night. And so we'll have the little guys. We have over 200 athletes participating in Little Arties, so we're very pleased with what Dean Roberson, Stevie Ralph, Kyle Stout, Ryan Wolf, Dave Talladay, Matt Branham. I can go on the list of a lot of people that chip in on a regular basis. So very pleased with all their work and effort that they put forth towards our Little Arties. So hope to see a lot of people on Friday.
So a lot's going on here. Friday night, Bloomington North, get out here, support the Artesians. Saturday on the road, it's an early start against Guerin Catholic, 4 o'clock for the JV game. If you get a chance, drive up there and watch the Artesians battle the Guerin Catholic Golden Eagles. And then, like you said, on Monday, if you're involved in Little Arties, you can come out, that great clinic that the Coach Staggs and that whole group puts together to get those youngsters started at a young age. It's kind of cool to see all those little kids running around and everybody that's involved in the program. Coach, as always, we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
See you again next week.
Thank you very much.
Artesian head coach Kip Staggs here inside Artesian Basketball. Like we said, a lot going on. Starts on Friday. Get out there and support the Artesians. If you can't, tune into our live stream, MHSRewind.com or MHS Rewind YouTube channel, and be able to watch the Artesians battle the Bloomington North Cougars. As always, I'd like to thank the head coach, Kip Staggs. For Kip and Zane Spangler, who kept us straight here and got things going, I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Artesian Basketball.